This is a case that sent shockwaves across Italy. It is a story of violence, deception, and profound tragedy. The details are disturbing and demand careful examination. At its heart is the brutal murder of Carol Maltesi. Her life was taken by Davide Fontana in January of 2022. This crime serves as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of interpersonal violence. It highlights the vulnerability of individuals and relationships built online. The case underscores the tragic loss of a young mother. Her future and the future of her child were stolen in an act of calculated cruelty. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. The central figures in this grim narrative are the perpetrator and the victim. Davide Fontana was a 45-year-old banker. His seemingly ordinary life concealed a capacity for extreme violence. Carol Maltesi was a 26-year-old model. She was also a mother navigating the complexities of modern life and online work. Her vibrant presence was extinguished far too soon. Their connection originated on the platform OnlyFans. This digital space, intended for creative expression and connection, became the backdrop for a fatal encounter. Carol Maltesi left behind a young son. He was just 6 years old at the time of her murder. Now he faces a lifetime without his mother. This is perhaps the most heartbreaking consequence of the crime. His loss is immeasurable and permanent. The motive for the murder appears rooted in possessiveness and anger. Fontana reportedly became enraged by Maltesi's desire to move. Her plan was simple and deeply human. She intended to relocate to Veneto. Her goal was to be closer to her young son. This natural maternal instinct became a death sentence. Fontana devised a chilling plan to prevent her departure. He used a fake profile on OnlyFans to lure her. This act of digital deception set the stage for the physical violence that followed. The pretext for their meeting was insidious. He convinced Maltesi to film a sexual video with him. This seemingly consensual act was a trap. The attack occurred during this filming session. Maltesi was in a vulnerable position. She was reportedly bound as part of the video scenario. This vulnerability was exploited with horrific brutality. Fontana attacked her with a hammer. He struck her a staggering 13 times. The violence did not end there. He then used a knife. He stabbed her in the throat, ensuring her death. The calculated nature of the attack, occurring while she was restrained, speaks to a chilling level of control and cruelty. It was not a crime of passion in the traditional sense, but a planned execution under the guise of intimacy. The sheer number of blows indicates a frenzied rage, yet the setup suggests cold calculation. This duality is deeply unsettling. What followed the murder was a series of acts designed to conceal the crime. Fontana engaged in a gruesome process. He dismembered Carol Maltesi's body. This act of dismemberment is often intended to hinder identification and disposal. It reflects a chilling detachment from the humanity of the victim. He then stored the remains. For 2 long months, he kept her body parts. This period of storage allowed him time to plan his next steps. The method of storage was clinical and disturbing. He purchased a freezer specifically for this purpose. The transaction was made online via Amazon. This detail adds a layer of chilling banality to the horror. His first attempt at disposal failed. He tried to burn the body parts. This occurred at a rental home away from his primary residence. The attempt was unsuccessful. The remains were not fully destroyed. This forced him to seek an alternative method. He then placed the body parts into plastic bags. These were ordinary bags used for an unspeakable purpose. The final disposal method involved discarding the remains. He dumped the bags off a cliff. This remote location was chosen to hide his crime. The disposal site was in Palline di Borno. This is a mountainous area in northern Italy. The choice of location suggests a desire for isolation and obscurity. The actions taken after the murder demonstrate a clear intent to evade justice. They reveal a disturbing level of planning and composure. Storing the body for months, attempting different disposal methods, all point to a mind focused on concealment rather than remorse. This phase of the crime is as revealing of the perpetrator's character as the murder itself. Following the murder and disposal, Fontana engaged in an elaborate deception. He actively impersonated Carol Maltesi. This was a calculated effort to buy time and mislead others. He communicated with her family and friends. He used her phone to send messages. This created a false sense that she was still alive. He made false claims about her whereabouts. He told people Maltesi was traveling. He stated she was due to return home soon. This deception continued for weeks. It prolonged the agony for those who cared about her. It also complicated the initial stages of any potential missing person inquiry. The truth finally began to surface in March 2022. The remains were discovered in Palin di Borno. A passerby found the bags containing the body parts. The discovery occurred on March 21, 2022. This was over 2 months after the murder. Carol Maltesi was killed on January 11, 2022. The time elapsed between the crime and the discovery highlights the effectiveness, albeit temporary, of Fontana's concealment efforts. The discovery of the remains triggered a formal investigation. Forensic analysis and identification procedures began. Fontana's deception eventually unraveled. His behavior, inconsistencies in his story, and forensic evidence led investigators to him. His arrest followed the positive identification of Carol Maltesi's remains. The investigation pieced together his actions: the purchase of the freezer, the rental of the property, the communications from Maltesi's phone, all pointed to his guilt. The period of deception is particularly chilling, showing a cold determination to maintain the facade of normalcy while hiding a horrific crime. The legal process began after Fontana's arrest. He faced serious charges. These included aggravated voluntary homicide. He was also charged with the suppression and concealment of a corpse. These charges reflected the full scope of his actions. The initial trial concluded in June 2023. Fontana received a sentence of 30 years in prison. This sentence reflected the gravity of the crimes. However, the legal process did not end there. The case was reviewed by an Italian appeals court. The prosecution argued for a harsher sentence. They contended that the initial ruling did not fully account for the premeditation involved. The appeals process led to a resentencing hearing. This hearing took place in May 2024. The court reconsidered the evidence and arguments. The appeals court upgraded the sentence. Davide Fontana was sentenced to life imprisonment. This revised sentence reflected a re-evaluation of the crime's nature. The primary reason for the upgrade was the consideration of premeditation. The court determined that the murder plot involved planning. This included luring Maltesi, the method of attack, and the extensive efforts to conceal the body. The initial sentence was seen by many as insufficient given the brutality and planning involved. The appeals court's decision to impose life imprisonment aligns more closely with the perceived severity of the crime. It acknowledges the calculated nature of Fontana's actions, moving beyond a simple act of rage to recognize a deliberate plan to kill. The primary motive confirmed throughout the legal proceedings remained consistent. It stemmed from Fontana's distress. He was angered by Maltesi's plans to move to be with her son. This possessive reaction to her desire for independence and family connection proved fatal. During the resentencing hearing, Davide Fontana offered apologies. These apologies were directed towards the victim's family. He specifically addressed Maltesi's parents. He also offered an apology to her son. The sincerity of such apologies in court is often debated. Regardless of their authenticity, they cannot undo the harm caused. The court also addressed the financial impact on the victim's family. Fontana was ordered to pay compensation. This compensation was specifically for Maltesi's son. It was intended to provide some level of support for the child left motherless. The compensation amount paid was €39,000. While legally mandated, no amount of money can replace a mother. The most profound impact of this crime is on Carol Maltesi's son. He has been left without a mother at a crucial stage of his development. The emotional and psychological toll on him is immense. Reports indicated the son's deep fear. He reportedly feared one day not remembering his mother's face. This heartbreaking detail encapsulates the true cost of the crime. It is a cautionary tale about the dangers lurking in online interactions and the devastating consequences of unchecked possessiveness and violence. The case serves as a somber reminder of the lives shattered by such acts.